right, hey everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back. It is Thursday, the last day of January, which is a little bit nuts, but I'm pretty excited about that. Also a little shocked we're already here. But I've got some good stuff in store for today. We're going to start with a little bit of a demo from Tuesday. If you haven't joined the stream before, if this is your first time, my name is Brandon. I do IoT development on the stream. My day job, I work for Particle, so we make hardware, software tools for building connected applications, connected systems. And so what I typically do on Tuesdays is I do a little bit of a hardware hacking sort of stream, and then Thursdays are more of a software hacking stream. And the Thursdays are really focused on building tools and applications for those hardware projects for IoT applications. So it's a chance to sort of explore the softer side of hardware, as it were. Maybe. That could be funny. I'm gonna clip that just in case I want to use that later. But what I did on Tuesday was to actually go through building a set of mesh networked RC cars. Had a few compile issues, a few stumbles, derps here, there along the way, just like every other normal day coding, of course. So I did want to share a bit of a demo of that today because we actually did get a couple of things done. On Tuesday, I shared that the piece of functionality that was there was this demo mode. Demo mode meaning you can run a basic demo sequence triggered from a gateway device. And then you have a single device that says, do these things, and it moves forward, left, right, what have you, and all the cars sort of do the same thing at the same time. What I did on Tuesday was to start to add more swarm-style behaviors to it. And what I mean by that is that I wanted to add functionality where there was a leader car and a couple of follower cars, and the leader car very clearly would send messages. And my thesis on Tuesday that I want to demo this morning is that I could take this remote control, which is the remote for one of the three vehicles. These are all of the Thunder Tumbler variety that you can buy at CVS, Walgreens, your drugstore of choice. And I wanted to use this remote to control just the leader car, have the leader car read the voltages on the pins coming in from the remote, and then send the follower cars to kind of do their thing. We stumbled about on that on Tuesday, had a few demos that worked fairly well, but I'm happy to say that this is now actually done, so I wanted to demo a little bit of it here this morning. First, let's actually take a look at the leader and follower code, because I wanted to share a bit of what's actually what's going on here. I mentioned, and one of the things that I did on Tuesday, if you were on Tuesday, you may recall, I started down this road of reading the pins from the RC car, kind of had to bail on that, move back into another direction. We're back to it today. It is working, which is fantastic. On each of these RC cars, effectively, there's a pair of integrated circuits, or ICs, that are in the remote. This is called, it's a RT2B2X, or TX, excuse me, for the transmission circuit. Hey Joe, what's up? And for those of y'all that are in chat, maybe lurking, maybe want to say hi, feel free. We are friendly here. I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to say hi. Joe has laid down his favorite of the Twitch emojis, which I'm a fan of as well, so thank you. And if you haven't, if you want to know a little bit more about the channel and what it is we're working on, I'll share more about that in a little bit. I don't want to get myself distracted, get Twitch brain. So on the other side of that, on the other side of the receiver, there is a companion RX, or receiver chip, RIC, that sits on the PCB for the RC cars that are down on the floor there. Maybe I should go and grab, we're not looking under a microscope today. And then those actually control an H-bridge that turns there's two motors on the car, one for the right wheel, one for the left wheel, and it just turns those accordingly. So by reading the voltages as it comes in, I have a particle xenon on that front car down there. The front car, as it reads the voltages as they come in, it will determine what to do, how to take action based on that. So let me make my code window a little bit larger here. Yeah, I can actually see it. There we go. So what I'm doing each time through the loop is I'm checking each one of those pins, checking the last value that was captured, and then doing something with it. And this is a little bit, I'll sort of walk throw this code a tiny bit without lingering over it for too long, but the important piece is that I'm taking an analog read off of that pin. That's going to give me a value between 0 and 4095, which represents sort of the state between low or 0 voltage and high or 3.3 voltage or 3.3 volts. Actually, I think in the case of the car, it's going to be closer to 4.5 volts because there's AA batteries in it. Is that right? Yeah. Close to 4.5. In any case, I'm dividing that by 16 because I want to get a value between 0 and 255. So when I do an analog write on the other end, you'll see that in a second that'll actually make a little bit of sense. So then I'm sort of level setting the pins here. When I did this on Tuesday, and I recognized a bit of a problem when I first shared this code out, I was doing a whole lot of mesh publish events. I was doing them way fast, and I think it ultimately was congesting the network. These UDP messages, they're very fast, but to be frank, I don't need to send them that often. What really matters is that I send an event when the car needs to move, one of the wheels needs to turn on, and I send an event when it needs to stop. I'm not yet at that point in building this demo where I need to stress too much about specific voltage values. So what I'm basically doing is if the voltage is changed, I'm going to send a drive value of around 200. That's what's set here. And then if it's back down to 0, if it's underneath that value, then it's time to turn it off, and I'll turn it back off. And you can see from the serial monitor on the bottom here what's actually happening. What was happening when I was doing testing earlier today. I'm getting values of 200, drive, 0, off, what have you. And so this is performing a mesh.publish. This is just a UDP-based message to all listeners on the network. That's the front car that's doing that. The back two cars are my followers, and what the followers are doing, at least what matters in this case, is they are subscribing to each of those messages that represent turning the left wheel in reverse or forward, or the right wheel the same, reverse or forward. And then when each one of these receives that event, it just turns around and it does a move. And in this case, the move is to perform an analog write of that value as it comes in. So that's just, in this case, you saw values of 0 and 200. It's just setting that pin to 200 to make a drive, or to 0 to ultimately turn it back off. And so this code is all here, and then there's nothing happening in the loop because these are all just sitting around listening, waiting for things to happen. So let's go ahead and demo this really quickly. As with all live demos, things can get unpredictable. It did work earlier, but here is my remote. I'm going to go ahead and just drive these cars a little bit forward. And there they go. Move them back. And you see they're moving together. Oh, it's so great. Turning them around. Now my leader's behind. It's pretty exciting stuff. So camera is relative. Hey, Dev Chatter folks, welcome in for my sweet. Thank you so much for coming in, Dev Chatter. Thank you, Brendan. I'm glad I was able to catch a bit of the tail end of your scream and do some stream. Excuse me, not your scream. I don't think you were screaming at all. Not that I caught, at least. But welcome in. Appreciate you hosting with the folks. And like I said, I just did a bit of a demo of some mesh network RC cars. This car in the back is actually the leader car that's emitting commands to the other cars to do the same. Still a bit of a work in progress, but I wanted to share a bit of an update from the Tuesday stream where we worked on that just a little bit more. I'm going to switch. I love live programming screaming too. I will probably lean back very far from the mic if it gets to that point. And actually, Brendan, I said on Tuesday, I need to actually get a table flip GIF in my streams because I feel like that's the one thing that I need more than anything, is to have a button to mash when I have that feeling of flipping over a table that I have to carry on and keep going. So, and we will carry on. We're actually going to move a little bit. I'm going to move back to code. Before I do that, I want to share very briefly a couple of different things. One is for those that have just jumped in, I am, you may see the little status bar down here to my left, your right, Cyan Brandon. Maybe you can't see that too terribly over the white screen, but that's what it is. And that is a little challenge that I gave to myself and friends. If I reach 100 followers by March 1st, so not that far out, 100 followers by March 1st, I will dye my hair cyan blue, which is a little bit nuts. You could argue that maybe it's something I already wanted to do. Who knows? Who can tell? But help me out. If you feel like following, you feel like making that happen, that would be great. The other thing that I will share is that as of my last stream, you can actually subscribe to my channel if you are so inclined. If you are a Twitch, or if you're a Prime customer, you can use a Twitch Prime subscription. You can sub my channel. And I also want to give a shout out to Dev Chatter, to Brendan, and very appreciative. If you were already here and you haven't yet checked out Brendan's stream, Jesse Skinner, thank you so much for the follow. One more, I appreciate it. We are getting there. Welcome, and hopefully hang out and say hi, hang out for a little bit. Feel free to lurk, feel free to say hi. Would love to hear from you as we keep on moving here. But definitely follow Dev Chatter. Brendan does regular streaming, and of course, yes, Brendonius as well, the man behind Dev Chatter. Let's see if I spelled it right. Roland Check 217. It's always fun to see cyan on hair. I agree. I agree. Let's make that happen. I think that it could be. I think that it could be a lot of fun. And thank you for the follow as well. It looks like I missed that. I missed that one, Roland, but thank you. I just saw it come through in the delay, so I'm glad I looked really quick. So we did the demo. We talked about RC cars, and let's actually get back to some Vuejs and Nuxt fun, because it is Thursday. It is the software hacking stream. I want to talk a little bit more about my Particle Firmware libraries registry and what I have been working on for the last couple of days here. This is pretty exciting, actually, because Brendan in Dev Chatter, I was just on before I started streaming here, was actually doing some Vue.js with a C#, which is very exciting. I am also doing Vue.js, but a little bit of a slight variance. I'm doing Vue and Nuxt, straight up JavaScript, which is I passed as a C# developer, but I'll admit it's been so long now, I'm fearful to get back into it, but it is on my list of getting back into. I've spent most of my career as a front-end developer, as a JavaScript developer, and so it's what I know and love, and it's what I am working in today. So we're going to keep on going with that. The whole point of this registry is to provide a way for firmware developers using Particle, a piece of Particle hardware like those RC cars on my floor, a way to pull in easy libraries for using sensors. So it's actually not that different than using NPM and Node or using NuGet in the .NET world. It's a way of just being able to get reusable functionality and packages into your applications, into your firmware, so that you can do things like work with light strips, like these wonderful light strips behind me here, or to work with the Blink library, which is a great tool for building web apps using IoT devices, Particle hardware, Arduino, ESP32, you name it. And there's others as well for certain types of sensors, like the one-wire protocol, which is a very common. These DS sensors are very common for doing temperature sensing in embedded applications. There's a library for doing MQTT. I'm not going to read all these to you. You can read, you can see them. However, there's not really today in Particle, and I've shared this before, there's a couple of different ways to view Particle libraries. You can add them through our build tool, and I'll share that here really quick. We actually do have a web-based IDE for building firmware. So if you're in your account, if you're in build.particle.io, you can wait. That's what you can do. You can wait while this loads up. You can find and install libraries using any of the development experiences that Particle offers, whether it's the web-based IDE. So if I'm doing something like, if I have a project, when I open up one of my projects, it's actually using something. Oh yeah, I'm in a different account. If I'm doing something like Blink and LED, I can just create a new app for web connected LED. Use this example. If I'm writing firmware in this instance, I can actually use this libraries UI to find a library, that gives me some sort of support. MQTT is an example, right? I can actually search for an MQTT library. And of course, it's not coming up right now. So here's some populars. I can find libraries, and you can see there's actually several different MQTT options. But what we haven't had previously is a way of just seeing a list or registry similar to some of my favorite examples of these kinds of registries, npm.js. I will learn how to type. One of these days, I will absolutely learn how to type. And hey, look at that. There's an MQTT library in npm as well. And another one of my favorites, if you're doing anything with cross-platform mobile app development, Marketplace, the NativeScript Marketplace. So market.nativescript.org. Highly recommend checking this out as well. There is a Particle plugin in here. Both of these marketplaces, these registries, are a great example of a kind of power. I know that guy. The kind of power of having a single place, a single repository for developers to look for libraries, to find out what's available in the ecosystem, to see what kind of strength of community an ecosystem has. And I'm hoping to do the same thing here. So what I'm doing is using the Particle Device Cloud API, which exposes the entire libraries ecosystem via a RESTful API, and the Particle JavaScript library. So I can actually show this. Yeah, that's not it. The Particle JavaScript API is a easy to use Node and JavaScript based front-end based application for working with that cloud-based API. So I'm able to do things like look for, to search for libraries, to find individual libraries, anything that's possible in the API, I can do inside of the JavaScript SDK on top of that. So for instance, if I am loading libraries, as I want to do, I can do particle.list libraries, and it's promise-based, so I can async await it. Wonderful async await, it's fantastic stuff. And I can get these libraries in a nice JSON payload and then build a site around it. So that sort of catches you up where we are here. I spent some time on my streams last week actually walking through building this so far. The key pieces, in addition to the JavaScript library, this is a Vue and a Nuxtjs based application. It's my first time working with Nuxt, but I'm a big fan of it so far. It's actually been very nice and easy to work with, very convention-y. Love that convention over configuration kind of stuff, and it works in that regard. And then I'm also using Bootstrap. I started with Vuetify, quickly went to Bootstrap, just sort of went back to my home base. It's what I'm used to. And so what I wanted to spend the rest of the stream doing today was to just walk through chunking out some more of these items that are in here. Since I streamed about this last Thursday, here are the things, these are some things that I did. I was itching to keep working on this, so I worked on this a little bit more on Friday. And what I ultimately did was added a fave icon. I formatted some installation numbers, so I actually did a little bit here. Actually, and for each of these, where did I show? Do y'all care to see the code? Why not? I feel like I said just talking about this, you would actually want to see the code, so I can walk through and you know code for doing a fave icon looks like. But I can actually show you a little bit of what actually happened here. So Nuxt has this great concept of using filters. And so I added a format number library from NPM. And then when I am pulling in the number of installs, right, which is this number right here, 1,200,917,000. This comes to me just as a number, 1,2,0,0,0,0,0,0,0. You get the idea. And then I want to actually format that into something more readable. At first I toyed with, oh, just add commas to it. And then I said, no, let's be a little bit fancier. Let's actually just round it up, or round it, but actually add a little bit of a human readable formatting on top of it. So that's what I did. This pipe and then method calls a filter, And then my filter is defined in my Nuxt config. And so I just added a plugins. I already had a plugins filter file, but actually open this here. I have a filters file. I have a few different ones, but the one that is relevant here is, oh yeah, actually changes. This was my original number formatter, and then I think I went back and changed it. But there's two different ones here. One that actually gives me an actual formatted number with the commas like I talked about. And then another library called approximate, or approximate dash number, that just approximates the number, gives you a nice human readable string back behind that. So that was the one that I ultimately ended up going with, which is where you can see, did I do it again? I must have done it another commit. Oh, terrible, Brandon. Terrible, terrible, terrible. And then what I did after that is I got afraid, scared of Vuetify. It's awesome, I love it. But I was just more familiar with Bootstrap, so I switched to Bootstrap View. Then what I ended up doing was cleaning up some of the header nav styles, cleaning up the title, clean up the top nav, and then added a sticky nav. And all that was basically just adding a sticky property, and if you go to things to the actual navigation itself. That is what gets us to this point of a nice scrollable list. It is sticky at the top. There is a search box that doesn't work, a login that doesn't work, but you can actually toggle between Particle public libraries, official libraries, and verified libraries. So that's where we are so far, and I have some transitions. What I wanted to do today was address a couple of different things that I noticed on Friday, and then maybe even do some of these other things on the staged tab, or swim lane. I don't know. So the first is I want to actually collapse my top nav on smaller viewports. So if I make the viewport on here smaller, you'll see my top nav gets hinky. I want to actually turn that into a drop down. Where this is actually happening is in layouts, default. Close that down. Okay. So b-nav bar, right? This is my nav bar. I do have it toggleable, but let me actually go into the Bootstrap docs and see the actual process for toggling. I'm wondering if this is going to be the kind of thing that's going to eat my lunch. So if I do, if I add easily extensible, and thanks to the B-collapse component, it can easily integrate responsive behaviors. The road to cyan continues, David. It does. Thank you. Thanks for jumping in, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, we'll get there. I believe in y'all. So B-collapse looks like the thing that we might be looking for. I feel like I may have. Let's give it a try. B-collapse. Is nav. Yes. I think that's probably important. Although, is it going to tell me why? I always like to know why. Maybe there's not separate docs for B-collapse. Huh. B-collapse. Oh, it's a separate component. Okay. So then, of course it is. This is all modular and fancy and whatnot. Scroll me down to the component reference. There you go. Is nav, default value false. According, okay. Oh, yeah, I'm going to assume that I need it. I don't think I need an ID. I don't like typing things that I don't need. You're supposed to just do that automatically. All right, B-collapse is nav. Let's go back. Not there. To there. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm actually... Oh, yeah, of course I'm running the site because I refreshed it. But go on my console. Make sure production mode. I recall running it in production mode. However, let's see what happens here. It does not work. Why? Oh, I wonder if maybe I have too much in there. Is it the B collapse just supposed to be here? Yeah, I put my B collapse in the wrong place. It's only supposed to probably have a single child, right? Let's try this again. See, this is one of those times where I need that table flip GIF. I'm not really at that point. I'm not really at that point. Visible false tag, show shown, emitted when collapses start to open. Okay, all right, I'm gonna go back here. What do you mean by easily integrate responsive behaviors, huh? BNav bar toggle. Oh, is it toggle? Yeah, but I don't want it. All right, I'm gonna humor myself and see what's going on here. That would be why I need the ID. What is that gonna add? What am I gonna add anything? Ridiculous! Alright, I'm obviously missing something else here. Oh, isn't he toggleable? No, I have that. So it doesn't need a single child because the other B collapse, all this other stuff is in here. I have right aligned items here. Oh, did I put it in the wrong place? Maybe I put it in the wrong place before. That sounds like something that Brandon would do. Me. Sounds like exactly like something that I would do. All right, so this suggests that it is actually collected. Talonlin, hey. Welcome, thanks for the follow. I think that's Doc. Hey, Doc, if I'm right. I think that's right. It's your Twitter handle as well. Awesome. Just over here fighting with Vue.js. Actually, no, Vue is fine. I'm fighting with Bootstrap. It is messing me up. So, all right, I'm gonna go beyond the Bootstrap docs. All right. Hey, Doc. Welcome. Thanks for the follow. So, B collapse in Vue. Why not? Dynamic property for vtoggle. Close collapse programmatically. Yeah, I mean, bah. I'm missing something obvious here. I know that I am. Right? Because what happens here? What happens in the docs? It goes somewhere else. That's right there. Okay, that's exactly what I want. Ah. Come on, as a copy-paste developer, this should be possible. I should be able to do this. So I'm obviously missing something. B nav bar toggleable, toggle, nav collapse, brand. His ID, nav collapse. Action Jax 113. Hey man, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Now, missed my mesh networked RC car demo from earlier, but I'll create a little video and I'll create a little snip and share it. All right, that's one that I could not. That's one that I missed. M1ND. Dang it, it's gone. Are you in the chat? Yeah. M1ND. Mind Bomb. Mind Bomb. Welcome. Thanks for the follow. Ito. Hey Ito, what's up, man? Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Hope you are doing well. Hope y'all are all doing well today. So if you just joined, what I'm trying to do is be a responsible developer and make this top nav collapsible. It is possible to do in Bootstrap. ¿Cómo está Mexico, carnal? I don't know. Oh man, all right. You guys are gonna go back and forth in the chat, huh? Okay. So I'm trying to make this responsive. And I am... Yeah, Ito, come on, man. Here's what I got. I'm doing all right. I'm not flailing here just yet. Toggleable MD, type dark. Is the fact that it's sticky causing this to be an issue? I got a nav bar toggle in here. I have a target set. I have the nav collapse, and that's surrounding everything else inside the nav bar. That's correct, right? Is this messing with me? No, that's ML Auto. It works. Got nav form. Oh, I need to change this to an actual proper link. Will do. You know what? Oh man, I cannot believe this. I think because I was running in production mode that this is not hot reloading. Which means that everything that I... Oh man, I'm an idiot. But I'm a likable idiot. At least that's what my kids tell me. Take a drink of water. A likable idiot. But I'm fairly certain because I ran in npm run, what, word that I'm an idiot? Because I ran npm run start instead of npm run dev, I was running in production mode and all those wonderful Devi features are not working. And if you were here like 5 minutes ago, you saw me look at that in production mode and think, that was my first mistake. I feel pretty good about this. I think it's gonna work. Ah, yes, okay. Now we have a nice collapsed nav. Oh man. It's a good thing that I am not employed as an engineer, because I'm joking. We all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited about that. That works now. I have a collapsed nav. Obviously like, well, yeah, thanks. Thanks, Jackson. I appreciate that. Good man. Okay. So we got that. So I'm feeling good about actually checking in and closing an issue. Where's my list here? Which number is this one? Collapse top nav on smaller viewports, number 20. So see where I am. NPM status. NPM status. Get status. Okay. Layout. Let me take this up a little bit. Layout is the only thing that has changed. All right, I just saw another, I missed another notification. I don't know how I keep missing these. Mr. Jack Septic Potato. I love these names. These are great. Yeah, Mr. Jack Septic Potato. Welcome. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. You are awesome. And Shirley, you are also likable, just like I am. And you are not an idiot. I'm going to stop. I'm going to quit while I'm ahead. Okay, get status. Okay, I did that already. Commit. And let's just call it that. Added B collapse. Closes number 20. Yay, and push. And because I haven't set up any auto movement of this Kanban board, I'll move that myself. So that was the easy one, supposedly, for the stream. Welcome, welcome. So all right, so the next thing that I want to do, I mentioned earlier how much I love NPM and the NativeScript marketplace. So these obviously you can search for individual libraries, and I'm not implementing search here just yet, because what I want to do for the next little bit is actually walk through doing a details page and then adding some of the info from the API into the details page. So let me see if I have this open from a previous stream. I have one of my the JSON payloads. That's all right. Here, I'm gonna take this off screen really quick so that I can do a curl command and not show you my token. And do a library search public filter. Perfect. All right. So if I search the API for libraries, I get a good bit of information. I get a link to the download to the tarball. That'll probably come in handy. And then some information about the library itself, the license, author, some of the stuff we're using on the page already, but a few things that we're not yet, like architectures and visibility and some of those other kinds of things. Let me show you another example here. See if I got one that has architectures. If not, I can actually look up one by name that I know has it. Bear with me. I'm gonna run another command here. And we'll do libraries. I'll show you the NeoPixel library because it's pretty complete. That work? Yeah. So again, download links, architecture's not in there. Okay. But you get the idea. Author information, license, all that good stuff. So there's some extra stuff that we can include here on a details page beyond the actual libraries, just the library list itself. So I want to turn this list into a clickable list, and you'll be able to go to an individual page when you need to. So let's do that. And check something really quick. Nuxt is, I mentioned earlier that Nuxt actually sort of prefers convention over configuration for a lot of things. So there are some conventions that you can follow that get you. You want to create a new view. You want to create routes. You don't have to set up your own routing. I've done that in React before. I've done it in Vue as well. Here you just create a library in the pages directory. Create a file in the pages folder, and you're off to the races. So, and then when it comes to actually creating detailed pages, the way that that works is you can create a folder. So we'll call this library. And then you create another file inside of there, and you call it _id.view. Right, and your id.view page can then be routed to directly from, for instance, if the ID here is NeoPixel, so I can go library.neopixel, right, and there's nothing on this page. No. But ultimately that's our library. So that's the landing page for an individual item. So once we get to this page, we're going to make another call to get info about the library itself. So I'm going to add another template. We will add, hopefully Emmett is working for me today. We will add a div, yep. And another div. We'll start with that for now. So this first div will have my item.id. Let me open up my list here. Oh, actually this loads the libraries component. That's right. Oh yes, library. Hold on. This is why I have to have the yes, data ID. Library.id. Okay. So I have item.id. Hey Jackson, thanks for coming, man. Good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. Appreciate it. We'll catch you soon. All right. Cannot read property ID of undefined. Well, at least I know I'm on the right page. Yeah, I'm not there yet. So I'm gonna have the ID. Let's also show the URL. If there's an item, template, if item.url. And we'll bind the href to item.url and item.url. We can add another filter here in just a second, which will be kind of fun. So maybe we'll do that. But for now, we will start with this. And I think that's a good spot. So outside of the template, we're going to add another script tag. We are going to, similar to what we did for, did I do that here? It's using map state. So let's go to there. Yeah, import particle from, and this is where I can actually pull in my particle plugin. It just gives me access to the JavaScript API. Import particle from plugins.particle. And we're going to export default. And And then here I will use, I'll make this async because I can. And async data is the data that I'm getting from the library itself and my route. In this case, my route is NeoPixel. That's my ID. And so from here, what I want to do is, oh man, I missed another one. Why do I keep doing that? Doombar59, thanks for the follow. Welcome. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing handles today. Let me slide that down so I can see. Hey, I got it. Doombar59. I gotta figure out what that white text on a white browser. I'll slide my browser up too. Ah, so pleasing to the eye. That's better. That's better. Not oppressive to you, not oppressive to me. It's great. So I am going to, in async data, I'm going to do a const response. And I'm going to await something from the particle. When I was a kid, my parents had like old, I mean, not kid, but like, I don't know, 9 or 10 years old. Like a Gateway computer. Some of you may remember Gateway computers. The boxes had like, they look like cow print. Like, well, it doesn't matter. And on that computer, I remember my parents got Mavis Beacon Teaches Typing. I sucked at that. And now here we are. 30 years later. All right. So particle. And you're getting to see it. You're getting to see it live. All right. And now I have to remind myself what I did in the store. Because the store is where all this is coming from. So I gotta open that up and see what's going on. Yes. Const response. Await particle. So I was doing list libraries here. And let's go to the API. Not there. Because I do believe in the reference, that's fine. Great reference here. I will tell you this right now. Get library is what I want. There we go. So list libraries for getting all the libs, all the libraries. This is for just getting a single one. Where am I? I'm in the wrong place. Don't change that. What's wrong with me? Here we go. We copy pasting again. Okay. Get library. My options. No limit, because it's just no limit. It's just a single one. Don't need this. I do need auth. But I do need a name, and the name will be my route. Possibly. Error. Error? Oh, wait. It's a route object. It's the whole object. It's not. Route.params. ID. Table flip. That's me. Okay. Oh yes, well, and I need to actually do something once I get that. So return. Let's call it library. response.data. And let's change this to nope. And what? What? Oh wait, I've been through this before. Hold on. It's response.body.data. It's response.body.data. Yep. NeoPixel! Woo! Okay. So we're getting something at the top of the page. Library. Oh, it's not library URL, it's library attributes URL. No. Yeah, whatever. All right. Now we have a link as well. So there's not, I mean, styling this should be relatively easy. However, I do want to make this, let's add the class on this one. Class equals PA padding a 3 from tachyons and make it a F2. NeoPixel. Wonderful. Okay, so I feel like now it's time to get fancy. Oh, should we use a Jumbotron with this? I always love the Jumbotron. Because what we could do is, yeah, let's use the Jumbotron and then do an href to the library itself, and we'll just sort of start from there. Right. This is lead. Oh yeah, and then we can use the description to lead to. All right, we're gonna turn this whole thing into a Jumbotron. So B Jumbotron. My header, we're gonna bind the header, and it is going to be bound to the library.id. Right, and then the lead is going to be bound to library.attributes.sentence. Does that look good to y'all? It looks good to me. The Jumbotron. Let's see what we get here. That's nice. That's cute. That's all right. Yeah, I kind of dig it. So then what I can do in the button, y'all should have seen, I started doing web development in like 1999. There were no, at least that I knew of, styling frameworks that I was aware of. So I created some nasty looking websites. Nasty looking websites. So let's add a B button and variant primary. And does B button work with, no, this isn't two. It's not an internal link, so we can do an href. However, here, we want to keep our template in here. Yep. Let's just get this out of here. here's my href. It's going to be bound to that. And then, how about we'll call this view on GitHub. Blast! Invalid end tag. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is a B button. Oh man. What div has no matching end tag? Care about a div? Oh, that div. Yeah, that div. And Prettier doesn't even know what to do about it. Now that is not bad. Not bad for 5 minutes of work. Certainly faster. Took less time than it did for me to get the top nav responsive, right? Woo. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, you know what I need to do here. Can I... Would this work? Oh here, what does it do by default? Does it open a new tab? It's not. I do target equals new. Does that work? It does, it just works. Okay, cool. This library, again, if you're doing firmware development and you want blinky lights like the ones behind me, these blinky lights, which I will make controllable very soon on a future stream. So that's actually something I'm excited to work on. This is a great library created by Brett Wallach, Technobly, one of Particle's amazing firmware engineers. Amazing. I'm not even, he is brilliant. And I know he's not watching right now, so I can say that. He's absolutely brilliant. I mean, I'd say it if he was here anyway, but I just want you to, he's brilliant. So, cool. So now we can click on a library and we get, oh, duh. Haven't implemented that piece of it yet. We have a page. Let's actually get the linking part to work. I don't know why I forgot about that piece. So let's do that real quick. It's kind of weird. All right. That real quick. I already get pretty easily distracted, and this is even better. Sorry, I'm looking at something else for reference. So, that was, I was going to add a filter. I'll come back to that. In fact, let me, so that I don't forget. So I've added the detail page. Let's do, okay. Let's do route. Let's not do it separate because it's going to be one check-in. Forget that idea. It's like, that's weird. Okay. Oh yeah, so from here, all right, so for each of these items, let me open up the libraries component. Oh yeah. Oh, I believe I left commented out code in here. Oh, why comment out code when you have source control? Brandon. All right, so if I have a Bootstrap list group item, and I want to make it clickable, I'm going to look this up before I start doing dumb stuff. no. Actionable list group items. That sounds right. Okay. Boom. Okay. So I just need to set an aref. href. So I know that my href, I'm going to bind my href, and it is ultimately going to be bound to, nope, library / library ID, right? Library ID, that's my href. What is this button thing? If I wanted to look like buttons. Let's just do that. Why not? See what it looks like. Button. Woo! Now I got a nice little hover animation. And I can click. And it breaks! Oh, that's not good. That doesn't break. Well, maybe it broke. Let's find out if it breaks. You know what? That's probably what it should be. Probably. What is happening? Let's inspect here. Get all the way out. Looks like it didn't actually add anything. Okay. Oh. Maybe? Doesn't really look like this behaves any different. I can hover, I get hover. But when it clicks, it doesn't do anything. Do I have library _ ID.view? When href or 2 are set to tag prop, when the button. Oh. Make my life harder just by doing that. Woo! Okay. Now we have that. Get on an item, see more information about it. And if you have a library that doesn't have a URL, there's no button. Because you can't visit on GitHub. So that's cool. Let's check. So we have a details page. There's a lot more that I want to do to it. So let's document that I'm not going to try to do right now because I want to tackle something that might be a little tricky, but I think it'd be kind of fun. And that is sucking in the README from the GitHub repo. This would be sweet. I've thought about this one. It'd be kind of fun to try to tackle. No idea how to do it, so we're going to learn together. But so a few of the things that I ultimately want to do here, and let me add this to my list, is add, so like what other props would I want? I would want like architectures if they're there, visibility, license, do the installs and all that, just like I did on the other page. fact, let's do that here for fun. So here, add additional props to detail page. And filter. What else do I want to do? Oh yes, add architectures. So I want to get. What I want to do is take little like Electron and Photon and Xenon tiny images and use those for architect to show sort of the supported architectures for each device. So I'll add architectures as icons. But for now, we're almost done with adding the detail page, but I do want to bring my installs. I want to pull these badges here, and I actually want to use them on my inside of my Jumbotron as well. So under ID, so before the, yeah, where should they go? Here? I'm gonna do those. What happens? What's gonna happen? That's not what I wanted. No, unless I just surround this with a div. It's fine. Class padded a little bit. Ah, I wanted it underneath the header. That's right. Don't like it. Removing. Come back and do it later. But, as I did on the other page, I still have access to that information. I'm going to remove it because we're going to do the fun thing now. So, we'll close out some of these tabs and here's what I want. I'm going to check this in. Let's go ahead and check this in. Ah! Always forget to do that. Closes number 8. Okay, now we'll push, and that will close that one. Cool. Okay. So there's one or two different ways that we can take this over the course of the next 50 minutes or so. I have a primary idea and then a backup idea, both of which are relatively ambitious, but be kind of fun to tackle either of them. One is in a similar style to what the NPM site does and what the NativeScript site does. I want to actually suck in the README from the repo and just display that as formatted HTML. We're not style it quite yet, so that's one path. If that seems like it's going to be a huge boondoggle, then, and we'll find out in a few minutes, then my backup is actually to add OAuth. You think, oh, that's the backup plan? Add OAuth? How? That's easy. Thankfully, there are some really good docs on the Particle side for using OAuth. And the reason why I want to add OAuth is so that I can ultimately you can log in and you have the ability inside of the API to see firmware libraries that you have created. So let me show you what I mean by that. Let me log into build and show you, see if I have to log in. I'll make sure I'm under the right account. Oh no, I'm in there now. Okay. So if you have written or contributed firmware libraries, so there's a handful of libraries that I've created here for like a thermocouple, for a few different types of displays, Grove sensor stuff, what have you. Any libraries that you've committed, you can search on as well. So that's something that I ultimately want to add, but you need to be logged in order to do so. Ultimately, logging in also means that we can add functionality that would let you click on one of these libraries and add it to a new project via one of the other, via the IDE. So instead of just viewing on GitHub, I can click a library and say like use in a project, and it'll dump you into the build IDE. Both of those require OAuth in order to work. And we've got good docs on that. And I did find a Nuxt library, Nuxt OAuth, that looks like it would be a good candidate for trying to do that as well. However, let's start with the README thing, because that has been, it's been something I've been wanting to do. And I'm almost afraid to search this because, again, I have no, like, let's see, Vue.js. Actually, that's not what I want to do first. The first thing I want to do is actually get the README from GitHub, right? So fetch README from GitHub URL. Getting permanent links to files, right? So we'll quickly find out if it's get the README. It's the first thing that I want to do. All right, let's curl this up. Let's try it. So, yeah. Repo's owner, repo, README. All right, hold on. Bite White now following. Hey, thanks for the follow. Welcome. Welcome. Thanks for coming here and hanging out. We are doing some Vuejs and Nuxtjs development against the Particle API so that we can create a libraries registry that's searchable, has wonderful information about all of these great libraries that are used for building device firmware for embedded IoT applications. Using some buzzwords. Hold on. What's the root of GitHub's REST API? I think so. Thank you. Thank you for that feedback. I appreciate it. I'm pretty pumped about it. We've made some progress so far. We have a list page for public, official, verified, and then now I'm working on for the list page for individual pages, actually sucking in the README. So that should be kind of fun. So now we're going to do some spelunking of the GitHub API. So https api.github.com. Only particle library I've used is NeoPixel. That's actually the one I've been demoing. That's pretty funny. And I love that library. I have these, I keep doing that. I have these NeoPixel powered lights here behind me. The most popular ones. It's a great question. So if you, and I can actually show this, when I get paging and sorting in here, I'll be able to show all that stuff as well. That's actually on my plan for stuff to do. But in terms of the most popular ones, if you go into build.particle.ide, the default sort of view is verified or like particle contributed libraries for like the internet button, asset tracker. Oh, thank you. Get whole. You're right. Thank you. Maybe that doesn't give me something. Mm-hmm. All right, fine. Oh, v3. Okay. I'll come back to that in a second. And then you have some verified libraries, and these are libraries that someone at Particle has actually tested to make sure that they work as designed. So there's things like NeoPixel Blink using one-wire devices. And then beyond that, the libraries are sort of sorted by the number of times that they've been used in a project compiled into a piece of firmware. So this is sort of your popular list. So MQTT, using the Adafruit temperature sensor. There's one for the Adafruit SSD 1306, which is a little display. There's some utility libraries like HTTP, Arduino JSON, etc. Good stuff. SDFAT. I can go on and on. So that is sort of the sorted by popular list. I'm going to add one of those. We'll add that ultimately to the site, to the registry eventually. So thank you for the question, Byte White, and for catching my typo. I need to just take 2 seconds instead of guessing. Take a look at all requests. Go to api.github.com. Oh, I have to go to api.github.com. Oh, okay, cool. So I did get a response. Let's put this in my favorite new command line tool, FX. Doesn't give it to me formatted. Okay. All right, so now I know my starting point. So I'm gonna do api.github.com, back on the other page, and we're gonna say repos, speaking of NeoPixel, repos, Technobly. I spelled Brett's name correctly here. Technobly. I can go ahead and close that now. README. What? Pardon me. I know that there's a README in there. Maybe there's not. Oh, there is. It's right there. Oh. How about not, yep. NeoPixel. Another table flip moment for me. Cool. All right, I've done something wrong. Repos, Technobly, NeoPixel, README. All right, let me try another one that I know works, just to be. Let's just do this B-Satchel. This libraries. Or no, the RC car one. How about that? So Particle IoT / RC Mesh has a README. I will say this, this is really cool. I don't know if y'all are catching this, but when you get an error from the GitHub API, there's actually a documentation URL that tries to help you kind of figure out what the heck you're doing wrong. That's really cool. I like that a lot. Of course, I'm wondering if, is this not a publicly, I mean, it's a public repo. Do I, however, have to have?
What are you afraid of?
I probably have to have a token, don't I? I thought this was an open API.
Well, here goes nothing.
Well, let's find out. Okay, fine. See, this is where this becomes a boondoggle. The crazy part about it is that I know in reading the docs that this is kind of cool, that it actually takes custom media types for returning the raw content or rendered HTML, which is exactly what I want. But yeah, I'm not authorized on that. But that can't be, because it's not giving me a not authorized error. It's giving me, how do I get the whole response in curl? You know what, why don't I just, instead of using the internet. So many curl options. Oh, wait a minute, am I trying to, no. I'm not going to post against it. But I mean, all right, let's do verbose. Okay. 404 not found. Which is ridiculous. Except it's the same thing I'm getting in the browser. Is there like an API testing tool or something that I am missing? Maybe I'm missing this. I haven't worked with a GitHub API in a while, so y'all tell me if these things actually require authorization. It doesn't seem like they do. Try api.github.com. Yeah. Right. Which is what I did in curl originally. So let's see. Let's just go to the repository URL. Okay. Repos. Particle IoT. RC mesh. Wait, I'm giving it the wrong name. Let's just do this one. These Saturn particle libraries. Use API subdomain in your curl request. I thought I was. Hey! Okay, so total like typo on my part, I suppose. Okay. So what was I doing before? Let's compare this here. I'm sure I misspelled something somewhere. No, that's all it was. So libraries, so readme. Woo! Okay. So there's the README, but that's not the README that I want. I want the README for Brett's. For the NeoPixel library. So, oh. Do you see what I'm seeing? Particle NeoPixel. Totally did misspell something. Thank you, Bite White. I appreciate you jumping in and trying to help me unstick myself from this. It's always good to have a rubber duck. HTTP. That's super secure text typing transport protocol. Yep. Here we are. Okay. One step closer. So if I want to get the contents, let's see. What are the media types? I'm reading this here. All right. So that's ultimately what I want. vnd.github.version.html. What is the curl command for setting a media type header? Here's a nice little tool. Just wish I could remember this kind of stuff. Is it media type? It's content. It should be a content type, right? So if I do content type, application / vnd GitHub, blah, 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 blah. That's what I need. There, we copy and paste it again like crazy. That's okay. No. No, no, no. Let me get verbose and see if it just didn't recognize it or not. Okay. Or is it truly media type? Maybe there's a media type header, isn't there? Doesn't seem like that worked. But I am bound and determined to figure this out in the next few minutes. I will. I mean, ultimately, it'll be something like that. Like, well, just cheat. just blob master. Mm-hmm. Yeah, run the same command again, Brandon. It'll probably do something for you. I'll make this verbose. Aha. Well, it would be helpful if I had run this against the right endpoint. You have to do raw.github.com. Yeah, that's a good point. Wait, actually, maybe that's exactly what I need to do. Got a whole lot of something here. Closer, closer. Oh, there's the content. Let's try content type on this and then we'll see. If I take that header off. I think that header is doing something because I'm getting a different response. Oh, no, I'm not. However, you are correct. If I do a https raw.github.com/technobly/particle neopixel blob. I get a whole lot of nothing. It is raw GitHub user content.com. Thank you. No need to apologize. It's great. I appreciate the help very much. All right. I'm obviously moster. I'm tired. It's the end of the day. Okay. I'm Google foo this. Get from GitHub. I just want to see an example. There's obviously something here that I'm missing in the docs. They're not telling me. No go. I don't want go code. Trying to look for some old links in the search result here. So you can see that. It's perfect. Oh, but that's just a markdown. However, that's just a raw markdown, right? So Byte White, thank you for sharing that. Click your link again. So if I then put this into curl, and I add the header, what was the header I used above? It'll be so far up there. my header. Okay, this is still just the, we're getting somewhere, but now I'm just getting the README. Try media type. I think the API is still my way to go. I think I'm back to that, and I'm wondering if maybe I should. No. So, sorry, Byte White. Ultimately, what I wanted in HTML. So you can actually get it formatted as HTML, because ultimately what I'm going to do is I'm just going to emit it out to the page here. That's ultimately what NPM does with READMEs. That's what the what the NativeScript marketplace does as well. Is it just sucks in the README, emits out the README as HTML, and then they do their own sort of styling from the global apply their global styles to it individually. But it just takes that raw HTML and just dumps it onto the page, which is what I'm trying to do here. And it's possible, it's in the docs right here, that it's actually possible to do this. I am failing though at doing it. So the raw media type, it looks like the raw media type is, so that's another thing that should be working, right? Let's see if maybe that does something. So go back onto the API, README, header, version.raw. Let's see what we get there. All right, my curl foo is failing. Not that I had any to begin with. Let's try this. I'm certain that I'm missing something here. Yeah, so application JSON. Oh, what? No, I had the application HTML. All right, here's an example. It's the accept header. Yes. See, I just needed to see it done correctly, and then I could figure out what I did wrong. So I need an accept header, not a media type or content type, because that's on the request side. So we're getting there. Great. Yay, it's right. High five, Byte White. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here with me through that insanity. So now I have it. The next piece is going to be, yeah, I can do that here as well, actually. So I'm going to implement, import Axios. I'm going to add another plugin for Axios. I'm just going to do an Axios call here in the next few minutes. So I'm going to add another plugin. I'm going to call it Axios.js. So similar to my particle plugin, I'm just going to do import. I'm going to import snippet. I like it when that works. Nope. Import statement. There we go. Of course, I have to install Axios. That would help. So let me do that. npm I Axios. So I will install Axios very quickly. And then I'm going to, once that's done, I'm going to add Axios to my Nuxt config. Actually, maybe I don't need it. Why did I think I needed it? Oh yeah, vendor. All right, I've got Axios here. Make sure there's no like weird compile errors or anything. Looks like we're good to go. I have Axios and I will just export. Export default. And the reason I'm doing this as a plugin is that I will just save myself a little bit of retyping. We'll do Axios create, and I will set a base URL to, right now just the repos is all I'm pulling. So the repos endpoint. api.github.com/repos. Save that. And now, there we go. That's probably. Thank you, Bite White. You're catching it. You're catching them. I appreciate it. So many typos. That's why I love linters. That's why I love Prettier. It's just fantastic. So here, import. Double check myself here. Don't need that. Axios from tilde plugins Axios. Did not like. But why? Hold on. Oh. Get it in the right place. Never good. Okay. So I'm going to say what's that churning? Figure out what's going on with that in just a second. So const. Here we're going to do readme equals await axios.get. And here we want basically this. Technobly. So this is not the ID. So what do I have? Oh, I can get that from the response body, right? Let's see if there's something else I can get out of the payload that solves this. So I'm going to need to pull off the, yeah, all right, let's get this working first and let's figure out how to genericize it, because I'm going to need to take the repository URL. I'm going to need to take the URL and basically take the last two pieces and pull that in. Right, so just for now, readme. Axios get. How to add headers in Axios? I've forgotten. second parameter? Guess we'll find out. And then the readme equals readme dot data. And then up here, we'll do another div. And we'll just say readme. No idea what we're going to get out of that. We'll find out. Oh, right. Template root needs one element. Yep, yep. I wonder why that's loading forever. Properly create of undefined. Do I actually have a problem in my... Really? Did install Axios, did I not? Import. Bah. Oh. Aha, yeah, because I'm not importing. Yep, yep, yep. That was my first mistake. Not actually importing an object from within the Axios endpoint. Axios itself. Silly brain. Okay. So it looks like we got something here. That's happy. It's making me feel good. Don't have a header yet. Doesn't need to add it. But if I do that, right? I mean, this would be headers, right? Except. Feel like typing. Y'all have seen what happens when I do that. El Magoo, thanks for the follow. Appreciate you jumping in. We're having some fun with Vuejs and Nuxt. I mean, fun. Error pages on the screen. It's fun with Vuejs and Nuxt and building a library for the Particle Firmware. Excuse me, building a repository or registry for the Particle Firmware's firmware library. Of course, it's not a comma, it's a colon. Of course, Brandon. All right, that didn't work. I'm gonna just look at the Axios docs. Well, now that I'm actually importing this properly, I should be able to use IntelliSense at some point. No, no. Why? It works. There it is. Oh, actually, hey. Same as before, I can just include this. I'll just put this in my base. I'll just put it up in here. Why not? So Almagoo and others, if you're just joining, I'm trying to right now suck in the README from a GitHub repository for a individual repo. So for an individual library. So if you click on this library, it's actually going to show the README as HTML. So we had some fun with media types and whatnot. I should have this as HTML now, and I do not. Oh. it would be helpful if I would follow the instructions. There we go. We have some HTML. Doesn't it look great? Done. Close the issue. Check it in. I don't need to format it. It's great. Right. And this is now where I need to remember how to take a string. Let's see. Div. I mean, man, my brain is failing me right this minute. Because now I got to figure out how to take this string and X and blah, 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 and format it as HTML. Let's see. HTML from string. JavaScript. Yay, JavaScript. Hey, Krasimir Sanov. I know Krasimir. Right? I mean, no, this doesn't seem right. No. How do I make an HTML tag inside a data string? Render as HTML. That's what I'm looking for, right? It's funny the things that. Oh, VHTML. Will that work? Or I can just use the colon as shorthand. Well, I had believed it was possible for just a moment. Huzzah! That's what I'm talking about. Let's put a class PA padding a 1. Look at that. Oh, wonderful. I mean, I need to do a little bit of formatting to it, but that's cool. That's cool, right? Now, right now, it is for the it is just for the NeoPixel library, right? So I need to actually do something to fix this now. Right now I'm just doing technobly particle NeoPixel / readme. I need to replace this with something else. It's not going to be a filter. So what I am going to do now is I'm actually going to use a URL, and yeah, so npm I URL, I think is the name of the library. Tell me to do some URL parsing. Yeah, that's the one. Close some of these down. Got it. GitHub, I have gotten what I needed. So, we only got like 3 minutes left in the stream. Thomas Red Panda, welcome. Thanks for following. I appreciate it. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to be wrapping up in the next few minutes, but I think I'm going to try to get this done before I do. So I got one more thing I want to do. Y'all hang around because I think I'm going to turn this into the actual URL, right? So I'm going to parse the URL. So I will do import, parse, let's blah, blah, blah. Import statement. What else does it have? What? What? Imported URL. They may not like that. No, it's there. So here, let's see, let me just scratch this out really quick, because I think ultimately what I need is parse dot, why is that not working? No. All right, hold on. Let's go to the old npm docs. Yep. I want path name. Oh, node URL. All right, let's use a different library. URL parse. Okay. Oh. I forgot to add parse. I'll just do this here. Gotta add this to my vendor in Nuxt. So URL parse. Do. Almost there. There we go. I should trust that when IntelliSense isn't working, it means something. So this is just going to be parse, right? And so here, I think that's not right. Oh, URL. All right. So content GitHub URL equals new URL. And this is going to be our response dot body dot data dot URL. Attributes. Woo! I'm feeling this is going to blow up on me or something. I just feel like it's going to blow up. Well, all right. Seems to be working. So now that I have that, I need to know the path name. Yep, that's what I want. So this should be GitHub URL dot path name. And we'll see what happens there. I'm worried that this is not actually working, even though I think that it's working. So let's go back away from the hard-coded one and try the internet button. Hey, all right. So it is working. Perfect. So that's what I needed. GitHub URL, path name, README. I love it when stuff like that works without having to do a whole lot of flailing around. And I'm only 4 minutes over on the stream. So I would say that this one is done. We've sucked in the README. We've gotten to do, that was kind of fun. It's kind of fun to explore the GitHub API and figure some of that stuff out. Next time, mess around a little bit of OAuth, which would be, gosh, even more fun. Can you imagine? Y'all hang with me for a few minutes here because I'm gonna find somebody that we can raid. See if anybody else is streaming right now. Those of y'all that are willing to stick around, let's see who else is online. Aha, Robert Tables. We raided Robert Tables the other day. Let's do that again. Let's see, where am I? So, all right, let me check this in and then we will do that. So git status, git add. Yeah, feeling pretty good about that. So git commit. Special shout out to Bite White. Again, thank you so much for hanging out and offering advice in the chat, picking up my typos. You are awesome. I really appreciate you hanging out. We'll do more of this in the next couple of days. So again, next Tuesday. So again, I'm streaming on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Info on my site below. Let's go ahead and check this in. So added README to detail page. Closes number 22. And push. Set the remote. Great. So that is done. We have our README here. I will deploy this out to Nuxt. Let's just go ahead and do it now. Deploy this out. I will copy the link in chat. This is going to be the one it's going to go to. Make sure that is right. So you can go see it for yourself. Oh, no. Why are you doing that? Sets in the clipboard. Oh, yeah. Okay. Not doing that. We made some great progress today. The next up is OAuth, and I still need to add paging and a search capability. Those things are kind of important. But we'll go ahead and do that. We'll do that next week. So thanks again for hanging out in the chat today. I'm going to switch over to Robert Tables and say, hey, so if you're interested in anything with AWS, Dockerization of all the things, Robert's stream is really good. So let's go over there and hang out. And thank y'all for spending some time with me today. I really, really appreciate it. Take care.